Hello, am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yes, yes, you are audible.
So do we need to wait for more audience?
Sir, please start as soon as possible.
Guys, my screen is visible.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So hello everyone. Like myself, Abhishek. So I'm working as a DevOps. So I'm working as a DevOps developer in one of the product company, Bureau Veritas here in Noida. So I'm working in AWS Jenkins and basically deploying Salesforce application, if you have heard about, right? So today we will be going through the main objectives of cloud computing, what is cloud computing, and how how it can be good for an organization or your personal development also as well in the in the game of technology, right? So basic, if you heard about cloud, you will be hearing out AWS, Azure, GCP, right? But in the market, you have seen AWS quite growing and have been matured over the years. And below that, there are various other cloud providers as well as your GCP, Alibaba, and Oracle. So AWS is one of the major the cloud provider. So whenever you build an application, right? Either some of you are working on Java.
So your voice is not clear.
My voice is not clear. Like, is it like breaking or is it like not? It
Sir,
is
it is
slow.
breaking.
Breaking
It's
at your
perfect, sir.
internet. Okay,
It's
thank you.
it's audible.
Yeah, so basically, some of you guys are working on the college projects, like some are creating an web applications using React application or Java application, right? For the backend. So you will be needing, you will be doing your projects on the mostly on the local machine just to learn, right? But in our organization, what is happening? There is a center, there should be a source of truth, or the your code would be there, so you need to do everything on clouds so that it can maintain the feasibility of your application, and also it should give you an enough flexibility to use it anywhere, right? If you are irrespective of your place, you can use cloud computing everywhere over the internet, right? So there is no hustle for uh, taking a laptop or the the machines. So if you see in earlier time, there were the things, they are on premises systems which was not feasible, right? So one, there was not scalability, availability, right? When the system goes down, your whole application breaks out. So cloud computing comes with that flexibility, right? And where you will be able to you know uh, depend upon your availability zone, you can just place your system's databases so that one region goes out, you have a backup for that application, right? So moving forward, we'll be dealing with the basics of cloud computing, our introduction to AWS, how it came, when it came, or when it was so it's services, right? Basic services, and at the end we will be having a Q&A round, right? So moving forward, we will be having understanding of cloud, right? So I'll share this PPT after the session. So basically, what is the I have already given the basic concept of cloud computing, right? So yeah, so basic concept of cloud computing. And yeah, so here key concepts are on-demand computing, as you are seeing, right? On-demand computing is that suppose you have purchased a number of servers, if you are using the physical servers, right, on your home, like your computer, right? So suppose you are creating a startup ecosystem, and you will be needing, the cloud is not in the scene, right? So what is happening? You will be needing more machines, right? Suppose you are on one term, you are not having enough work or enough you know the things to generate, your space will be wasted, your computing power would be wasted, and your the cost of machines will be hampered, right? So this is not a good thing nowadays, or from the past 6 to 7 years back. No one is using this on premises, so either it is going hybrid or it is going fully on cloud, right? So on demand computing gives you the flexibility, like when you are using your resources which are being provided by AWS, you need to pay just what you are using, right? It's not like you will be giving the money unnecessarily, which are the services which are not being used by you, right? And in terms of scalability, it's like, suppose this is the concept of AWS. I will talk about that only. So suppose you have two machines. So suppose your traffic is coming to your website, right? And you're not able to handle it. So what you will be doing, you won't won't purchase a new server, physical server, right? But if you are having an AWS, what you will be having advantages, you can just you have to configure the AWS account whenever this much of traffic is touching this server, or that this threshold, like 65% of this threshold has been crossed, your AWS will create another server on the cloud, like what we call is it EC2, right? Elastic computing as well, right? So as I have told you, pay as you go means you will be giving the money only for the services which you are using, right? And if you're using a free tier account, it won't give you much much bill. So it is good to start with a free account as well. So if we go to benefits of cloud computing, so it is generally a cost saving, right? You can assume that, right? And flexibility, I have already discussed, like pay as you go, right? And the scalability also it provides. You can increase the servers and decrease the servers, right? So this flexibility is being provided. Is that disaster recovery is that suppose you are having your AWS account is having number of machines, you do not have to. Hello. Am I audible? By the way, I was disconnected, or I was made out.
Yes, you are.
Okay. Let me share this one screen. Yeah. So we were at flexibility and the disaster recovery is that case where you are having an AWS account. Suppose you are living in Delhi, Mumbai, it doesn't matter. Your servers are being at the AWS data centers. So suppose one data center has been, going off, or has been like recovered is just went off due to disaster, like a flood or any situation, right? So another region will be ensuring your data would be recovered as it is on the cloud, right? The central cloud, that is AWS. So any doubt, guys, in here, like basic cloud computing?
No, sir.
Okay. So moving forward. So introducing to AWS, like Amazon Web Services, right? So AWS is the another entity of Amazon, right? So it is not fully, it is a quite it is a subset of Amazon, right? So it was like created by some of the engineers on in 2006, and as we have seen, as you know, right, like it is a leading cloud provider and offering 200 fully featured services from data centers globally. So services, if I say services, then it is providing storage services, database services, networking, security, or computing services, right? So these are the services, and you have seen the basic cloud leaders in the market are AWS, Azure. So in terms of if you are moving to DevOps, you know, like market is bending toward Azure DevOps, right? And if you are going and market is also capturing Azure and Google Cloud as well. So AWS quite good in place, but Azure and GCP is also going upward in the market share as well. If I talk about Alibaba, and it is being used by very less company, mostly in Russia or China. And if I talk about Salesforce, so Salesforce is not the that feature cloud which is being provided by AWS or Azure. So Salesforce is just providing some, SaaS platform to like CRM, if you have heard, customer relationship management, right? So developers develop the, this logics how customers will interact. So that is the platform, SaaS, software as a service, which is Salesforce is providing, right? So both the things are different. Salesforce is the cloud, but it is not like comparatively enough with AWS services, right? So if we talk about ecosystem in AWS, we have AWS Management Console, right? Like this, right? Or okay, you cannot see my screen. Let me share again. Yeah. So okay, guys, can you see my screen on like AWS console?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So
Yes, sir.
this is the basically the management console of AWS, right? So here you can see a lot of services, right? Saving plan instances. Instances are nothing but EC2, like the server, right? Suppose you are creating you have a laptop, right? So AWS will provide you this full machine where you can interact and install everything like the Python, or and you can do anything you want for running your applications, right? So basically instances are those EC2, and yeah, elastic IPs. I won't talk about these because I will talk about some of the basic and most important services. So auto scaling groups are the number of instances which AWS created. It will decrease or increase the instances on the basis of requirement. So basically, this is the flexibility which is provided by AWS. So yeah, this is the basic dashboard of AWS, right? So you can go through it and explore, and just keep in mind, you should use the free services only. I mean, do not cross or the your threshold. Otherwise, it will just give you the $1 billion. Right? Yeah. So ecosystem we have covered, and like services we have talked about: compute, storages, databases, networking, security. So okay. So on the next slide, we will be discussing the most common services in brief, right? So core AWS services, which I have shown you, right? Amazon EC2 instance provides scalable virtual services servers. While virtual, why we are calling it? Because it is not physical, right? So virtual will be there, right? I won't go deep inside that, but I will show you like how you can create an instance and what the things that AWS will ask. Suppose your React application you have created. So which machine you want to have? Suppose if your application requires this Ubuntu server or Linux server, the Mac server. Suppose you are creating a .NET application that is just being used by Microsoft applications, right? So this is AMI. AMI is the the image. So image is not here that Docker one which we will be talking about. It is just a template on which your AWS or the instance will be created, or EC2 will be created, right? So you have to keep in mind this should be free tier eligible, right? So yeah, so other than that, it will ask you for that how much CPU you want, how much memory you want, right? So the basis on requirement, and you are creating a normal project, then you can use it, right? Key pair, why this is being asked? Key pair is the the key one is, if you have heard SSH key pair, right? One is public key and one is private key. You have to save one of the private key in your local machine and public key in the instance, which will help you to connect your local system to AWS. So you like number of times you won't need to just log in AWS, find the everything, right? You can just log in through your local machine using SSH login, and it will be just open your AWS instance, and just you can do everything on that using CMD, right? So it will provide you some command line interface, and you can perform any task here. So yeah, so network, subnet is a set of IPs which you have to select, right? SSH traffic, it's nothing but like what sort of traffic you want in your instance or your machine, right? Instance. So basically, if you want, like, if you're hosting some website which is very user friendly, and you want like as much as traffic should come, you can make it to anywhere 000. So basically, it is not recommended because it might hamper your security of your instance, right? So yeah, you can launch the instance, and your instance will be created, right? Yeah. If I launch it, yeah. So meanwhile, it will launch. We will go to another service, right? So we have talked about EC2 provide scalable virtual servers, right? So you are seeing this AWS Lambda, right? So Lambda is nothing but your serverless service. So any one of you know what is serverless? Anyone can tell?
So in that,
Any
we do not specifically make a server. Rather, we just write the code, and whenever the request comes in, we process the request and reply with the response.
right?
And
Correct.
it is pay as
So
you
basic.
go. So
Hmm,
as per your request per minute, we are charged.
right. Correct. So AWS Lambda is same as he has said. So basically EC2 servers are like, already we have seen the server is needed. This server has been created by AWS in one of their data centers. But AWS Lambda, where you need to write code, I mean, at AWS interface, you don't need to have a physical machine for that, or hybrid space for AWS. Just you need to have a function. I will show you what that these functions have, either in Python or any language. There should be a logic, right? In this program, whenever something happens, it should be triggered and perform any action. So it is just not using server for that, right? It is just being on service on AWS, which is just just running. Okay. So yeah, so this, let's come to storage. These are the computing services. Now storage, right? So this Amazon S3 is the simple storage service. What it gives you, just gives you to store the objects. If I talk about objects, they are nothing but your image, your PDFs, your documents, your code as well, right? So this is very basic storage service which is being used by every organization, and it is very less costly, right? It is for uh, I don't remember, but 1 lakh, if request for 1 lakh request. If I talk about request, what is request is whenever you try to access S3 bucket. Bucket is nothing, just I can say they have named their one of the file system as bucket, S3 bucket, and whenever you try to fetch or push anything into that S3 bucket, that will create a request. For if you are pulling something, that will create one request. If you are pushing something, that will create one request, right? Suppose if you are pushing two objects or two things, it will create two requests. If you are pulling the same, the count of the request will be same, right? So for 4 requests, it will really negligible charge, right? You can use it, and you can also use it to create host your web application. So some of you are having your online resumes, right? So there must be in your mind like where you can host your resume. So just you can create an HTML resume and host it on S3 and just provide the link to people on LinkedIn or just share it on anywhere, right? Yeah, so EBS is another block storage for EC2. So EBS is like a hard drive, right? Hard disk for EC2 instance. Suppose you are using a physical computer, you are having a hard drive, right? The same way EBS is being used as a hard drive for these EC2 instances on the cloud. So it just everything is virtual, right? These two things are being provided by AWS on their data centers, and you are seeing these things on virtually on portal, right? So you don't need to worry about like how they are working. It's just being fully managed by AWS, right? On their any region. So one of the main task of EBS is also that suppose your instance is going down, so your boss is telling you just remove this instance and take a backup. How you will be doing such things? Just you can create an EBS snapshot. So if I talk about the snapshot, it is the photocopy or the exact replica of EC2 instance. It won't create a EC2 instance. Rather, it will create a snapshot or a template, right? How it was, what the things it was storing it inside, right? And then after creating in a snapshot, you can delete the EC2 instance. And in further, if your boss says, okay, just like spin up that EC2 instance again with the new name, you can use the snapshot or just fill other configuration, and the same EC2 instance will be created, right? Okay, so our instance is created. So this is our instance. This is the public IP, right? And this is the private IP, right? So public IP is accessible by everyone, and private IP is just not accessible by everyone, as we know it, right? So it is this. If you are working in an organization, you won't use public IP address, right? You will be using private IP address so that for the security constraints, right? And yeah, so yeah, and if we say status alarms, and you can create any alarm, we won't go in deep for that. Maybe covering in the next session, right? Monitoring it means I have told you, right? If it is certain threshold, if your traffic is coming in very large amount, and you have set if 65% of the CPU is increased, then create an alarm that will give you an email and just you can just spin up a new EC2 instance if it is more like alarming you, right? And security is inbound rules. So here inbound rule is the like what sort of traffic is allowed, right? So here I am seeing there is a port of your machine 2022, and the traffic from everywhere can access your 2020 port. This is inbound rule of your instance, right? And yeah, so outbound is you can access everything and everywhere, right? All, so all port of any system is allowed from any of the ports from yours. So destination can be anywhere, right? And if we say you need to, yeah. So this is the EC2 instance. So where all the developers, all the DevOps engineers work, right? So if I tell who I am, so it will create it will give you the current user EC2 instance, right? So yeah, here you can install anything apt I don't remember Amazon. Okay. So Amazon Linux is based on the CentOS, right? Yeah. So you can just install everything Java and build your application above it, right? So if you just turn it off, your application would be here only. It won't go anywhere, right? And you can use same thing, Linux operations here. Everything you can do it here, right? And if you anyone is having an access to this machine, also can manipulate or edit, update all the code here, right? So this is the basic EC2 instance, right? And it is having very less like memory, CPU, everything, right? It is having very less for the general purpose, right? So if we talk about Amazon RDS, right? So yeah, so RDS is relational database, as we have seen SQL, MySQL. It is MySQL is provided by Oracle. This Amazon RDS is being provided by AWS, right? As the name suggests. And it is relational database. Why it is called? If some of you are studying SQL, right? You must have known you can join two tables using relations or primary keys or something like that, right? So this is the main objective of Amazon RDS. You can use tables. And yeah. And what is DynamoDB? DB is nothing but a fast and flexible NoSQL database services. So DynamoDB is not in the form of table, right? It is in the form of JSON format. I mean key pair format, right? And you can access your database using key pair, and which is very fast in compared to the relational database. And if we talk about networking, you can see VPC. VPC is nothing. We will understand via diagram I have just created on another slides, right? VPC and Route 53, and the security like IAM is nothing but the privilege to give any. Suppose you are 3 to 5 developers. Your roles will be different. Developer one will be having this access, read access. Developer two is having read write both access, and developer three would be having read write execute access. So these are the privileges which is being given to anyone, any person using IAM. Right? There is IAM you can create. If I go to search is IAM here. Access who can access your AWS resources. So yeah, these are the IAM roles. Roles is nothing but a developer role or admin role. Yeah, this is it, right? So IAM dashboard it is. Yeah. And yeah, so we talked about Lambda at that time, right? As a serverless. So you need to. So this is the snippet code for one of the use case. Suppose any of the instance and one of the condition is triggering it. Suppose your EC2 instance is passing your threshold above 65%, your Lambda will be triggering up. How these operations are going on, it will take a lot of time to make you understand. Like we have to create a notification service attached to Lambda, and just it should also be attached with the CloudWatch so that Lambda can be triggered, right? But in coming to Lambda, we will be seeing this. This is the Python program for it. This is a logic, right? And this is the must installed library for connecting with AWS. If someone is asking you in an interview further, what is the, how you will be controlling AWS services, what library you should use in while connecting with AWS services in Python, then you should tell that is Boto3, right? And this program is doing nothing. Just if trigger something is triggering this Lambda function, this is if your instance is turned off, it will turning it on. It's just simple, right? There is an instance ID EC2 dot start. This is the methods, right? Instead, it will successfully start that instances. If suppose those instances yeah, so yeah, this is the basic objective of this. And this is an exception, like error exception. If there is an error starting the instance, then there is 500 code, right? So yeah, so there can be any exception, but this I may make you understand like this is the basic objective of this code, like to restart any instances, right? And anyone of you having Lambda? Any like question regarding Lambda? Okay. So like I have seen, like I told you already, like we have an EBS volume which is a hard drive attached to your EC2 instance, right? So EBS, this is the EBS volume. Like hello. Okay, so this is the EBS volume, which is having your all data of EC2 instance, right? Of EC2 instance of this, right? And all data is backed up using a snapshot, and only data that has changed since the most recent snapshot is backed up, right? So this through this you are creating a snapshot one by one of this running instance source data. Suppose your EC2 is running, and you are creating every day the snapshot, right? So above that, you are having the full backup data for every day, right?
Also, yeah, that's why there was a small delay. So before you start, how many of you actually know about LinkedIn? Any thumbs up silently? You guys know about LinkedIn?
Saurabh, can you just mute this?
I'll move on directly. So I'm actually doing this LinkedIn with to give you all knowledge about LinkedIn. I have been doing this LinkedIn. Like I've been using LinkedIn.
Yeah, so I have already like told you in the previous slide what is DynamoDB and how it is working in this one of the use case now, right? Suppose you are having a weather application, as people are starting creating weather application in the React or Android development. So you are hosting your code in the S3 bucket. You are publishing your code to SRC. So there is a specific command for S3, right? This is the command AWS S3, and this is the target, the bucket, right? Bucket means nothing, just a S3 ID on the AWS. And this is the folder of your application code. And this is optional. I mean, option like you want to sync or you want to just copy, right? Yeah. So after that, you are just pushing your front end code to S3 bucket. Okay. Now as I told you, you can just use index.html as a static code in S3 using and here you can see a user which is creating this local weather application is connecting with local application will be clicking on any of the icon or any part of your website and routed to this API gateway. So API gateway is nothing, just API. Whenever user hits the button, API request is being sent to the correct server or AWS server, right? And after that, it is redirecting to Lambda, right? So Lambda is triggering something logical and giving back to the back request to the API gateway, right? And the user can see the page which he has requested for, right? And Lambda, after that, Lambda, suppose user is creating a login account. So the request will be flowing through Lambda and will be storing it to DynamoDB, right? So yeah, so you can see DynamoDB structure. It was in JSON structure. It is in JSON structure, right? So person ID, it is suppose it is automatically generated. It is creating its login credentials. So it will be storing in this format: Smith, Fred, or phone number. And suppose this person haven't filled these credentials, so this person have already created these scans. So that's why we are seeing the data of this Johns anymore, right? So this is the table, full table, and this is the item. Item means for every member, it is being called as item, right? For Johns, all the details being captured and identified as one item. For Stephens, it is being created as one of the item. Every details of that person will be captured and be referred as an item, right? So attribute is nothing but it is a part of an item like person ID, last name, first name, address. It is a column, right, in the lame language. So DynamoDB is also serverless, right? It is hosted on the AWS. So you don't need to have a server for it or the space for it. It is working like dynamically working on the application, right? And why it is called NoSQL, as you can see, for SQL for SQL databases or relational databases, we need to have a relationship between the table, or it should be in that form where we can have a primary key to make a relation, right? So here you can see it is in JSON format, right? So we cannot say it as a we can say it as NoSQL database, right? So if you have heard about Postgres, right, or so that is also a NoSQL database as well, right? And yeah, DynamoDB is primarily a key value store, right? There you can see this is the key and this is the value. This is the key, this is the value, right? Yeah. So anyone has having a doubt on this DynamoDB? Any one of them? Okay. So yeah, moving forward, another resources were VPC, right? I didn't tell you about VPC because it is better to make you understand on the this diagrammatically, right? You have this EC2 instance, right? EC2 architecture. You are just randomly creating your EC2 instance, S3 bucket, and all, right? But if you are just using VPC, what it is going to suppose there are two person A, person B, right? A has created its resources on AWS like I did just now an EC2 instance. Now person B wants to secure its environment, right? Hello, someone is speaking. Want to ask something? Hello.
I think that's just the background noise.
Okay. So yeah, so person B wants that I don't want to use anything with person A, right? I don't I we have a one AWS account, but that doesn't mean we want to use the resources, each other's resources on the same network, right? Same IPs, right? So what this person will do is he'll create a VPC. It is nothing, it's just a cloud inside cloud, right? I have created everything inside this cloud, and whenever one person is creating VPC, it will be creating another isolated environment where whenever you creating any resource like EC2 security groups or your database DynamoDB or Lambda, you will be creating inside this environment or VPC, virtual private cloud. And this cloud will be isolated and will can be also and will be accessed by you only. No one can access this cloud either. And if they are having the account, if you both are having the account in the same AWS, right? He won't be access your services like storage, security, or any other services. So it is like private to you already, right? Yeah. Right. Yeah. So moving to another Route 53 service, which is another
Hello, hello.
Hello, Abhishek.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, you are now.
Where I left?
You are explaining about Route 53, I believe.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. I think I was speaking on mute since 5 minutes, I guess.
Oh,
Yeah. So, guys, you are cleared about this? I mean, or
yeah.
uh, we just started Route 53, or I can just repeat it. No worries for that.
Yeah, you were explaining about the Route 53 and we lost you.
Okay. So, Route 53 is nothing, just a DNS provider service, right?
Oh,
Where
sorry to cut you in. But we
uh-huh.
cannot see your screen. You're sharing your screen.
Okay, I am sharing, but I don't know why it is not coming up. Only meeting organizations and okay, someone has. Uh, I don't have authorization to, you know, only meeting organizers and presenters can share.
Advance.
Hello. Yeah, I mean, I don't have the privilege right now. I mean, earlier it was there. Saurav, are you looking into it?
Abhishek sir.
You can
Uh-huh.
present now. Check.
Okay. Yeah, I can. Hope Everyone can see my screen right now.
Yes.
Yeah. So if we go to Route 53 service, that is nothing but it is having a route table. So route table is just a mapping where you have configured your DNS name. Suppose we are using canva.com, and and UK person wants to connect canva.com, and this Japan person will be connecting with canva.com home, something like that, right? So hello. Hello. Some
Yeah.
voice is coming.
Uh,
No, it is. Hello. This voice is coming. No, no. No, it is fine. When I'm not
Yes.
hearing it up.
yeah, no, it is fine.
Again,
No, it starts.
someone is not on mute. Okay. So yeah, the Route 53 is nothing, just the table where your this DNS server DNS name will be mapped with this IPs. Suppose this UK person wants to connect with this home page of this website, it will route to this IP address of the instance. And if Japan person want to connect with the Canva.com admin page, it will be routing to this, right? So in term, like it will be having, the configuration route table name as route table, where you can just put your IP address, and in front of that you can just use DNS name nothing, just this acme.example.com or something like that, right? Wherever your page or the application is hosted, and whenever this user wants to access that route table, sorry, the DNS, it will just route to the particular instance. So you know it, right? How this networking works. Suppose you're tapping www.google.com, right? There is DNS, domain name server, is sitting in between you and the client, uh, you and the host, that is the Google. It will just map what has been typed by you, like go google.com, and it will match the IP address which it is having it, right? If the IP address is matched with the DNS, as same as Google is having it, your request will be routing to that google.com. So between that there is DNS server. And if we talk about architecture level, you can read it. After DNS server, there are a lot of other servers, right? Which will be handling the request. So just if we want to understand how this works, just keep in mind DNS server is sitting in between. So same Route 53 is also working, right? Uh, any problem in here? Till here, any doubt?
I have a small doubt, not regarding the this one, but can we access to this regarding recording later? Not sure if
Yeah,
it's possible.
I think it is being recorded.
Is it posted in the WhatsApp channel?
Once it is created, once it is we'll be having it, we'll post it. Okay.
All right. Thank you very much, Abhishek.
Yeah, no problem. So yeah, and so for we have discussed it, right? About the cloud computing benefits. Same, you can take it for the AWS. AWS provides flexibility and scalability. Same, right? Upscaling or downscaling your instances on the basis of CPU utilization, right? And it is cost efficient. Suppose you are not using any instance, you can just turn it off, and your AWS will not charge money for that. So robust security, compliance, helping you to meet various regulatory requirements, is where you can see VPC, virtual private cloud, which comes into the picture, and IAM also, as we have discussed earlier, right? So these are the security constraints provided by AWS. And yeah, quickly and stay agile in the competitive market is that where every developer has access to the cloud. It is not depending upon any uh, the any other development team. So individually they can work on that code or the cloud, but for that they should have a permission or necessary role for that. Right? Yeah. So I have created one of the S3. This is S3. Yeah. So I was talking about this. This is my S3. Okay. This is S3 portal. I have these kind of buckets, right? So these are called as bucket, and in an overall in Amazon terms, it is Amazon S3 service, and it is having buckets. So this is the I would say this is the object. I mean, this is the React application manifest or the artifact. If we talk about artifact, it is that thing. Whenever you build your application, some of you are creating React application, you must have used npm, right? If you are creating a Java application, you must have used the Maven. So these tools are widely used by the DevOps community right nowadays. CI/CD for CI/CD, which will be building your React application, JavaScript application, and Maven for the this Java application, and Node for the JavaScript application. So I have made this the portfolio for me a few months back. I mean, it's being a long 1 year. So these are the things which are being generated in my local after building an React application, and I have pushed these things into the S3 bucket using these commands, right? AWS S3, and ls would be the source folder of the code or the build which has been created. Target is your bucket ID, right? To which bucket your code is being pushed, right? So now you will see, here it is. Yeah. So this is the index.html I have hosted, right? And we go to management, sorry, properties. I have added this, yeah, here. If we talk about maybe static website hosting. So I have index.html created, and this is not a, this website in static website. So it is one page website, I mean, single page website where React is being widely used nowadays. Like if you can see Instagram and all, right? So I have put this index.html. So whenever whenever the person wants to access my portfolio, he will be redirected to this. So if we show you my portfolio, it is like this, right? It is hosted on AWS. Right. These are the certification, right? And in the backend, there is a Google database, and you can also use AWS in-house database, right? So in this way, you can utilize S3 in a very vast way, right? Yeah, I mean, you can just create a free tier account, and just keep in mind you need to use only free tier services only. You should not use any service which will charge you dollars, right? Yeah, I mean, you can go to find out the documentations and all services, all services. Yeah, in portal basically you can go and just find documentations and all. Like this is basically AWS, and here you can see the documents, right? And certifications also you can do. So now my current forecasted billing is this 0.11 because I used one VPC. I have deleted it right now. Unnecessarily 2 to 3 instances were running, right? So and S3 is also being used as a request. So this amount has been released or forecasted by AWS. Right? Now you can go and follow these instructions, follow the card, right? And just it will deduct 2 or 1 rupees to check your card is legit or not, and it will return in 1 to 2 days. And here, and you can just go and explore the AWS services as well. Yeah, any open questions for you guys, for me?
Hello.
Yeah, hi.
Is this session continuous on tomorrow or other days?
Saurabh will tell about it. Like when we'll be having a next session. So this session was mainly focused on the fundamentals, just to understand fundamentals, not going in depth with the services, work with the services. So yeah, and next time we will cover it up how we can integrate these services and just many projects as well.
How many days will these sessions go?
Saurabh, are you there? I mean, we are conducting more sessions.
Yes, Divya.
Saurabh, are you there?
Yes. आवाज जा रही है?
Okay, your voice is really, I mean,
Hello. I am
yeah.
audible. So
Yes.
basic. So basically, when the next session is maybe on next to next week, like we are not conducting on like tomorrow. Also.
Next week में Sunday को.
Yeah, I mean, we will decide that whenever we'll be having a time, right? And we'll update you for regarding that.
Yeah. Yeah, we will have a chat on WhatsApp. Then, depending upon the responses, we are open to host. Any other questions from anyone?
Sir, we have that quiz questions? Like anyone can poll for it?
Yeah, I will post on the WhatsApp channel. So everyone, we are hosting a quiz. So do join it. I will share the link on the WhatsApp channel.
I mean, is it possible to continue here? I mean, just it won't take. I just they have to log in and just answer the questions. We can see, or we can do it later. Whatever you say.
Yeah, we can do on at the end of the session or like.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, I'm done from my side. I mean, if you guys are having questions, you can directly reach out to me.
So anyone having any doubt, kindly ask, and if remains any doubt, then contact on our WhatsApp. Okay. I share the Twitter handle of Abhishek, so you can connect with him.
Thank you guys for joining.
Thank you, Abhishek. Thank you, guys.
Yeah. Recording.
Thank you, Bhaiya, for a wonderful session.
Pleasure.
Thank you.